Star Trek gives me hope for the human race.
Somebody wants a banana, I give them a banana.
I know Star Trek isn't real.
It's not necessarily about profiteering, it's about improvement, and it's about learning, and it's about getting something out of life.
Everyone is selfish in their own way.
The problem is there are so many people that just don't have anything to necessarily look forward to.
CJ and Ted, philosophers on the Tuesday show. Nip in, fill up, pay, go. Moral space battle of who's right.
Just try and fix the cost of bananas across Northamptonshire.
40% of the cost of fuel is tax. I don't think I've ever filled up at a Morrison's or an Asda. Ever. I don't know why.
Welcome to the Tuesday Show with CJ and Ted.
I like the idea of moving to one global world currency, and if Bitcoin is the one, cool. I know it's kind of a utopian idea, but...
Sounds more dystopian to me.
Let's work together on it and make sure we are valuing everything the same across the board. So, the price of a banana in the UK costs the same as the price of a banana in Spain.
To organise 7 billion people, you will have to regulate and over-regulate. You will stifle creativity. You will stifle business. And your banana costs 50 quid. Nobody can afford it.
A business trialling, paying everybody exactly the same wage. Irrespective of position, irrespective of job title, irrespective of how much work they're actually doing, is it a system that would actually work in real life? And they discovered quite quickly that no, it's not. It would work if everybody had exactly the same ethics about everything, but then straight away you've removed individuality.
The idea of trying to fix the price of bananas, that could be the beginnings of World War III. Fast forward 50 years. Millions dead, everything's destroyed, and no fucker's got a banana.
I was just about to say, and then aliens come, and then the world gets united anyway. So, the Star Trek reference, by the way, for anyone who cares. Okay. It's all about. I mean, I don't know, canonically why there was a World War III, but apparently there was a World War III, which ended in 2053, I think. And then aliens came 10 years later. And then the world got united as one. And then we all started exploring space and having epic adventures and having sex with green people, apparently. So.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Still talking about Star Trek.
I love Star Trek. Star Trek's amazing.
Okay.
Star Trek gives me hope for the human race. That there is somehow, possibly, this idea that we can all live in peace, irrespective of where we come from. There's no longer this economic drive for improvement. Everyone does it because they want to do it. Everyone, wants to improve themselves and all life because they want to do it, because it's the right thing to do. I'm not saying it is the right thing to do.
Who decides what the right thing to do is?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it is the right thing to do, but it's that
the problem is,
there is this plane of existence where we can live peacefully, and we can live, without this massive overhead of, I need to make as much money as possible so I can live a good, comfortable life.
It's not about that. It's I think money is just tokens. It's about having a fulfilling life. People want to have a fulfilling life, and they may not necessarily realize, but subconsciously, they need to be producing something or doing something that's worthwhile. And money as tokens is just a way in which we kind of facilitate that. So if somebody starts a business, they start a business, and working within the frameworks that we have in the world at large is that we use money to barter. So
well, it's trade, isn't it?
It is trade, and we're doing something, and we're passing that on, and somebody wants it, and this is it. It's a win-win. Somebody wants a banana, I give them a banana. Okay, they pay with some money, but it's not all of their money because they're still spending money on other things, as like things like oranges and apples. But I take some money from that. Now I've motivated myself to organise a way in which I can get bananas to that person, and I've taken a reward from that. But it also gives me purpose. As a banana seller, I have purpose. If I wasn't a banana seller, and if, say, for example, a government said, look, everybody's going to get free bananas, isn't it brilliant? I'd be sat in my home with a free banana thinking, what purpose has my life got? So it's not necessarily about profiteering, it's about improvement, and it's about learning, and it's about, getting something out of life. The problem is there are so many people that just don't have anything to necessarily look forward to, and nothing really to pass on. Sorry, I'm going off on one now.
So right, CJ and Ted, philosophers on the Tuesday show. No, like I say, I look at things like, I know Star Trek isn't real, but I feel like it's it's almost like a good target to work towards as people, surely we want to get rid of war, surely we want to get rid of poverty and disease, and isn't that really what we should be working towards? Rather than just... Now, I'm not saying that everyone is the same, but there is a lot of people who are there just to try and make money so they can have... everyone is selfish in their own way. And I'll hold my hands up and say, that's me as well. I'd like to be able to say, sure, I'm here to make as much money as I can so I can live a comfortable life. I'm not saying I need to make as much money as I can so I can then share that wealth and make many people's lives comfortable. It's all about me and how I'm living. And that's how it works. Whereas in the universe of like Star Trek and such like, it's not about individual. It is about everybody. The mindset change from I need to do everything I can to make my life okay changes to I need to do everything I can so everyone can benefit from it, so everybody can be happy and comfortable and etc. And I like the idea of that.
See,
but it's never going to work.
But this is the sort of... No, it's never going to work. Because, well, let's say in Star Trek, Star Trek, they have like space battles, don't they?
Yeah.
Against who?
Against people who don't share their dream. And I mean, like I say, it's clearly all fiction, but you've got, or science fiction, I should say. But, there's a species who are clearly based on the Roman Empire. Their entire purpose is conquest, and basically proving to everyone else that they are better than everybody else. There's a whole other race who are clearly like, I don't really know how you describe them, but they're basically a warrior race. All they want to do is fight all the time, and kick everyone's ass. Again, just to prove that they are better than everybody else. And then in comes Starfleet, who are just like, whoa. You need to kind of get rid of this kind of mindset. We need to all work to better everybody else. But it's all about teamwork and all living together and working together and everyone being happy and blah, 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 blah. And then they all turn around and go, and now you're just trying to impose that on us when we're just trying to impose our beliefs on you.
Yeah.
And you end up in this whole moral, endless space battle of who's right.
This is all about scale. So, it's all about scale, and it's all about having tribes. So, like, say, for example, if you're, at home with your family, your tribe is a very small tribe of, a few people who you would share your, you would share a kidney with, let alone share a sandwich or a banana or whatever it may be. And, everything's basically on the table. Mm-hmm. Then you have a slightly bigger tribe, which is perhaps the people in your club or in your village or in your place of work. And then you have the people in the next village or in the Cleethorpes branch. They're a different branch. So we look after ourselves. Then there's the Cleethorpes branch. They look after themselves. But actually, they're both part of Blogs Company Limited. Blogs Company Limited are a tribe in itself.
Yeah.
And they look after themselves. So when it comes to these sort of utopian ideas of everybody shares, everybody gets along, and it's all for the common good, that works when it's
the greater good.
The greater good. I mean, it sounds sinister, but if it works on a much smaller scale, as soon as you increase the scale, it doesn't work because people are different. People have different ways of working. People have different motivations. So when you get to the anything the size of a country, I mean, say for example your banana thing. I'm just going to take it back to if bananas all cost the same.
Yeah. It's a rolling theme.
It's a rolling theme. So let's say for example, you wanted all bananas to cost the same across the world. Just try and fix the cost of bananas across Northamptonshire and see how you get on. Good luck with that, because that's going to be a hell of a task.
The thing is, you just have to look at fuel as an example. No two places sell fuel for the same price across the board, across the country. There's variations from town to town, business to business. It never costs the same. Personally, I don't understand how or why. Actually, no, I do. Now I've actually started thinking about it. I do. It's the fuel companies that are selling to other businesses have obviously put in their differently. They've negotiated different prices and therefore different markups get applied, and that's how it all kind of spirals out. But you go to London and your fuel prices are through the roof, but you head up to Newcastle, they're through the floor. It's there's a mass variation within a couple of 100 miles, and I don't understand why that's the case. But again, supply and demand. There's plenty of supply and also plenty of demand in the heavier populated areas. Therefore, the demand will always be there. I guess maybe fuel is the wrong example, because everybody needs, or everyone who drives a vehicle needs fuel, unless you're driving an electric car. So irrespective of how much that fuel costs, people are still going to need it. So people are still going to pay it.
Yes.
I mean, you just look at I've been driving, 16, 17 years? When I first started driving, a litre of petrol cost, I think it was about 86, 87 pence. We're now at over £1.50 per litre in 16 years. It's not been a dramatic increase, but it's been slow enough that, 15 years down the line, we're heading towards double the cost that it was 15, 16 years ago. But the demand is always going to be there. People complain about it all the time. Fuel prices are terrible. They're shocking. Why are you still buying fuel then? Stop driving if it's that much of a problem. I can't because I need it for work. Do you? You could always find a job closer to home, and you could walk or cycle, get the bus. That kind of thing. But in reality, that level of thinking doesn't work in reality, because people want the freedom of having a car and being able to have the freedom of choice to work wherever they want to work, irrespective of commuting distance. Therefore, fuel prices will always be there, and fuel will always be there, will always be needed. So, and then you suddenly inject that into a heavily populated area, of millions of people in a small space. Those prices can be pushed up incredibly high because the competition isn't as fierce as it is in a sparsely populated area. So they can afford to just keep jacking their prices up because they know people are going to buy it. They know it's going to happen. Whereas you go to a sparsely populated area, you could have, two competing fuel stations with only a few 100,000 people going to both of them. It's easy enough at that point for them to go, well, hang on a minute, these guys are more expensive than those guys, so I'm going to go to the less expensive one. So then the more expensive one has to pull their prices down. So I understand the competition from that perspective, but again, it's that it upsets me that that is the case.
But it's not just that. It's also, it depends on the business model as well. So when I started driving, you would not go to the supermarket for fuel. So in a very, very short space of time, supermarkets have become selling fuel. The last thing I knew, that they had something like a 25%, a quarter of the fuel market. I imagine it's probably much more than that, because the last time I knew about that was probably 5 years ago or something like that. But if you've got petrol stations selling fuel, they can effectively do that as a loss leader, because they're going to be selling your groceries. If you go for a week's shop, they're going to make a lot more than that on that than they will on the fuel. If you go to a convenience store, look at these petrol stations. Many petrol stations now are so big, and you're there to do your shopping as well at the same time. That's where they make the money. So that does keep the cost down. If you've got a fuel station that is just a fuel station, they've got to have a bit more of a markup on the fuel.
Yeah, well, like you say, it's their only product.
Yeah,
that's their only source of profit.
Yeah, not a lot. Most of it goes on tax and duties. Again, this was a long time ago when I read an article about fuel prices. I think actually it was at the point that fuel went over, on average across the UK, over £1 per litre. And there was an article and a statistic in there that 40% of the cost of fuel is tax. And only about 5% of the cost of fuel is profit for the reseller. The rest of it goes to the initial, like the supplier, on which they are also heavily taxed. But overall, like 40% of the cost of fuel is taxed. In some form, whether that's VAT or corporation tax or whatever. So I've just found a website here. Average motor fuel volume sold per petrol station in the UK in 2001. Would you like to have a guess who it sits at the top of the list as the most fuel sold in 2021? In kilolitres per annum. So that's thousands of litres. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a supermarket.
Sainsbury's.
Really?
11,773,000 litres of fuel sold in 2001. 2021. Tesco's is second at 11,347,000 litres, followed by Morrison's 10,400,000 litres, Asda 8,600,000 litres, and then Shell for 4.5 million. Apple Green. When was the last time you saw an Apple Green fuel station?
They're a bit few and far between, aren't they?
Yeah. They're sat at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, number 6 on the list. They're above BP, which surprises me. Apple Green 4.4 million, BP 4.3 million. Co-op. I didn't even know Co-op did fuel. 4 million. Esso, Texaco, Jet, then all the small ones that we all know about but rarely see anymore. Yeah, Esso, Texaco, Jet, Harvest Energy, I've seen a couple of those. Circle K, I didn't know Circle K existed in the UK. Maxol, Essa, Go, blah, 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 blah. Merco, I drove past a Merco garage last night, actually. There's one not far from where I live. Again, I thought they died a death. Well, they were just gone, but no, they're still going. So yeah, there you go. But yeah, the top 4 out of all of those are, unsurprisingly, the big 4 supermarkets. So,
and it wasn't that long ago that they had no share of the market.
No, exactly. But it also, seeing those statistics, I now understand why, in general, Sainsbury's tend to be the cheapest for fuel. You know, on average. And Tesco's are generally cheaper as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever filled up at a Morrison's or an Asda. Ever. I don't know why. Yeah, Sainsbury's and Tesco's I've done. But I mean, that's just an incredible statistic. And you look at the graph on it, it's, you know, the difference between positions 4 and 5, so Asda and Shell, is nearly double. Asda has nearly sold double the amount that Shell has. Yeah, that's a massive jump. But it's that, like you say, supermarkets, they get into everything.
Yeah.
You know, as you are at the supermarket. So you can just nip in, fill up, pay, go, and that's it. You've done everything you've bought everything you needed to buy for that week or a couple of weeks or whatever in one stop.
You'll also go to the pharmacy there. You'll also go to the opticians there. You'll also buy a new phone. You'll also do whatever else you can do.
You can buy a holiday while you're there as well.
You could do, indeed.
Just come to us and you can do everything under one roof, and you're going to essentially spend more money with us. And again, it's about that profiteering. It's how much money can we make? How much can we offer the consumer to maximise profitability?
Well, it's not even maximising profitability; it's maximising market share. So if you got a large market share, you may be getting, a fair bit less in terms of profit on individual items. Obviously, you're gonna make more profit if you've got economies of scale. Yeah. But if you've got the market share, then if you control the market share, then you're in the best possible place, aren't you? And that's the deal with the petrol, isn't it? It's if they're selling the majority of the fuel, they've got the market share, they've got the control,
and they can afford to drop their prices a little bit to be competitive.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Damn businessmen.
That was The Tuesday Show.
Get in touch with us. All the links are in the description. And until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.